Hi guys, it's Professor Ader here. Welcome to the first of three American Revolution videos that I'm going to do. This is the lecture that I would normally do in class. So the story thus far is basically the first day that we talk about this, we are basically reviewing the stuff that we've already seen. In your note, if you have the paper notes, you'll see that all the stuff on the left of the paper notes says the story thus far. If you are a virtual student, the digital notes that you have also have the left side saying the story thus far. Each of the notes, the far left side of the paper, the stuff that's in bold, is going to be the title of the slide, which is this stuff up here. Then the information that goes in there is right below it, right here. So we talked about this. The European nations are competing with each other for basically being the best. World resources, military strength, political superiority. They're basically trying to be the most powerful. And we're going to look at one example. This is a map of the world. This little island right here is Great Britain. And if you look very closely, the next time I click, you're going to see all of the land that Great Britain has taken at least a part of in its history. It'll all be shaded in pink. You'll have to look pretty closely. But if you see any pink on this map, that is land that Great Britain has taken at least control of part of it. So like Great Britain had control of this area of the United States, but since that's all the United States, all of this is now shaded pink. Okay, same thing in India, same thing in China with Hong Kong. They had control of Hong Kong, so all of China is now pink on here. The American Revolution is sometimes called the War for Independence. We know that it's not the same thing because the American Revolution starts in 1775 in Lexington and Concord, Massachusetts. The War for Independence, however, starts July 4th, 1776, when the Declaration of Independence is actually passed through the Second Continental Congress. And the American Revolution is what causes America to separate from Great Britain. This ends in 1783, which means that this war is an 8-year war, which means it's actually closer to a 7-year war than the 7-year war was. Major causes, if you look at your notes, this is kind of the introduction. This is me saying, hey, these are the three things I'm about to talk about. First, we have the French and Indian War. This is a rivalry between the French and the British, and this is all stuff that we've gone over already. They want to know who's going to control North America. Spoiler alert, the British. Here we have the British, colonists, and Native American allies who are all going to be fighting against the French and their Native American allies. It's important to note that the British and the colonists, they're the same thing. It's kind of like all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares. All colonists are British, but not all British are colonists. The British here is going to be British soldiers. Colonists are going to be the British people who are living here in what is now the United States. And we talked about Great Britain's national debt nearly doubles because of this war, and that's why they feel like we need to help pay for that protection that they provided us in the French and Indian War. And the French and Indian War, or the 7 Years' War, of course, lasts 9 years. The first example of a tax we have is the Sugar Act. This is the first attempt to raise income tax directly from the colonies. This is a tax, and if you see duty, you should think tax, on sugar and molasses that aren't going to come from Great Britain. This is from France or Spain or the United States. Anywhere but Britain gets this tax put on it. If you were smuggling sugar, if you were smuggling molasses, they decided that too many people were getting away with it in the United States. So instead, they're going to put you on a boat, they're going to send you to Great Britain, and they're going to put you on trial there because there's too many people getting away with it. Eventually, they passed the Stamp Act. This requires a federal approved stamp, and it's not like a stamp that you put on an envelope. It's a stamp on any piece of paper. Playing cards, marriage certificates, death certificates, bank ledgers, any kind of paper that you buy has to have the stamp. And all of this money is for federal protection. It means we're paying for soldiers that we don't like being here to be here. So the next few things we're going to talk about. The Townshend Act. This is a duty or tax on tea, lead, glass, and paint. the money that's raised from this is used to pay royal governors, more people that we don't like being here that we're now paying to be here. And this is when you start hearing the cry that we're being taxed, but we don't get any say in government. So there's no taxation without representation. We're not represented, but we're paying all these taxes. In 1770, we get the Boston Massacre. This is where a crowd, they kind of show up in this town square area, and they're mad, and they're throwing snowballs and things at the British. Eventually, somebody throws a little club, a piece of wood. It hits one of the British soldiers, and the British soldier shoots at the Americans. Crispus Attucks is the first casualty there, but 5 Americans end up being killed here in the Boston Massacre. Because of this, because of the outrage, Parliament actually cancels all of those townshend duties: tea, lead, glass, and paint color taxes. But they don't cancel the tea one. So the townshend duties were the tea, lead, glass, and paint colors, but they don't cancel the tea one. It actually makes tea cheaper because it raises taxes on non-British tea. And people are super mad about this. The colonists dress up as Mohawk Indians so that the colonists will not be recognized. They get on board the tea ships and they start throwing the tea overboard. Well, at least most of the tea. Some of them pick up the tea and they're like, hey, free tea. And they take it home with them. And the British at this point say, okay, you guys want to play? We'll play. That Boston port that you guys dumped all the tea in, you made the biggest cup of tea in the world. Yeah, you don't get to use that port anymore. No more ships with tea, no more ships with merchandise. You guys don't even get to send anything out of there. We're going to blockade it with some of our boats. You don't get to use it anymore. And since you guys all got together and planned this, no more meetings. No more town meetings in anywhere in the colonies. They're banned. And if a British official, one of those guys that you hate being there, gets in trouble, you don't get to put them on trial. They're going to get on a boat, they're going to come over here, and they're going to be on trial here. Now, how often do you think those people are found guilty? Probably not very often. In response to this, we get the First Continental Congress, and that's where we'll pick up in the next video. Thank you, guys.